Well, I want to welcome you and say Happy New Year. It's 2024, and we are doing the 2024 Budget Challenge. Say that with me 2024 Budget Challenge. If you don't like the word budget, I guess you can use spending plan. We're calling it budget, and we're going to make it fun, making budgeting fun for 2024. How do we do that? Well, let's go into this webinar. This is going to be a four-part series, four parts, one, two, three, four, and we're going to take you to the challenge of making a budget a game and achieving your financial goals. So let's go to our. I'm going to go to my slides right now. So give me a second here, and hopefully you can read that. And that is today's the 6th of January, 2024. We have another class next week on the 13th, then the 20th, and then the 27th. And this is a free webinar series. We're doing four classes. And then after that, you can join our Community Financial Champion Academy if you like. We dive deeper into it. But just wanted to welcome you and thank you and believing that this is going to be your best year yet. One of the things we're doing here is we want you to reach your financial goals. And whether that goal is built, for an emergency fund, or it's just setting clear financial goals like paying off the car, paying off the house, um, and maybe starting to reduce your debt or getting out of debt, 100% debt. Do you want to be debt free? Say, I want to be debt free. You can go scream with Dave Ramsey and say, I'm going to be debt free. So you can do it. We believe it. It can happen. And so you can also have goals for investing for growth. Like, do I invest in real estate? Do I invest in stock? You need to set some goals. Now, I am not a financial planner. I'm not licensed. You need to do that. This is for education only, but we want to help you reach your financial goals. And that's why we're helping you in the behavior part. So we have the Budget Challenge 2024. There's 8 parts, 8 rules to this game. If you follow the 8 rules, you're going to achieve your goals. And this is a 90-day challenge. So I'm going to quickly tell you about this, where we got this methodology from. These came from, and they were adapted from Super Better, which was developed by Dr. Jane McGonigal. And she basically hit her head and like, Doc Brown from Back to the Future, he came up with the flux capacitor. Well, Jane came up with the Super Better method. So get some water real quick. So she came up with the Super Better method, 8 steps. It's actually 7, but I added another one. Well, the first one is challenge yourself. And that's what you're here to do. Challenge yourself. If you can accept this challenge, like Mission Impossible, your mission, if you're willing to accept it, is that you will achieve your financial goal. And we're putting this down in a 90-day term. So that's what we're doing. Second one is setting an epic goal. That's our second step. And then we're going to go through these over the next 4 weeks. So I don't want to go into detail. Those those are our first two is the challenge, accepting it, and then setting an epic goal. And we'll keep going through this slide every week for the next 4 weeks. Rule number 1, challenge yourself. Commit to the next 90 days that you will accept this challenge. Today's January the 6th. So you can start on January 7th. If you're watching this on video, you can start a few days after that. But commit to 90 days. Look at the calendar and say, what's 90 days from now? I mean, 90 days typically from the 1st of January is going to be the end of March. So that might be a few days after that. It might be April the 6th, somewhere around there. But 90 days is what you're looking at. And we want you to set realistic goals, something that you can achieve in 90 days. Now, you might say, well, I'm going to save $500. Well, maybe you can save $500 in 90 days. But what about $5,000? What about saving an emergency fund? What about paying off a credit card in 90 days? That's 5,000. Is that too hard? We can find out. You can do this. I know you can. Let's make a game out of it. The big key right here, consistent self-discipline. Now, I'm going to be here with you every week, walking you through this budget challenge, but you need to be consistently showing up, whether you show up live or you watch it on the video at financialchampionacademy.com, financialchampion.net, or you go to our YouTube channel. You can catch up this, but you need to make the commitment to do the challenge. So that's number 1 step. And one of the things that it's just like losing weight. It's like, oh, it's the beginning of the year. I'm going to commit. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, I can tell you, I'll be honest. Last year in 2023, I committed to losing 20 pounds. And this year, at the beginning of the year, I weighed the same thing as I weighed last year. What happened? I made a commitment, but I didn't follow through. I need you to follow through. One of the things when we set up a goal that's a year long, a year is a long time. A month is too short, but a season, usually a quarter, is really good. And that's what we want you to do. One of the things we want to do here at Financial Champion, me and my wife Monica, we we're co-founders of this uh, community, and it's a business, it's a subscription we have, but we're not charging for the webinars. We want to encourage you, we want to teach you. We really want you to succeed and hear what your success stories. But we're trying to do is help you change behavior. And one of the things that I know, the reason I didn't lose the weight is because I didn't get with a group. I didn't make it a game. Now, I tell you the story about me wanting to run a marathon when I was 18. It didn't happen. 22, it didn't happen. 28, it didn't happen. And at 32, I told a friend, I want to run a marathon. And he says, I've heard you say that before. If you want to run a marathon, why don't you join my marathon running group? Yeah. Okay. When do you guys meet? Oh, we meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 in the morning. And I was like, okay. Well, I took action. I made the commitment. I accepted the challenge. I showed up on Monday. And guess what? 6 months later, after running with all these people, it was 25 people or so. Some had been running marathons for 30 years, 20 years. They had run 50 marathons. And I'm trying to run one. Guess what happened in 6 months? I ran my first marathon. 6 months later, after joining that group. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. It takes community. It takes accountability. It takes consistent self discipline to have that challenge, to meet that challenge. You don't have to make the budget on your own, but you do have to show up. So that's rule number one is challenge yourself, accept the challenge for the next 90 days that you're going to come back to this webinar, watch it on video, and follow me through the steps because there are going to be quite a few steps here. And this is rule number one, the first rule, first step. And the next one is set an epic goal. An epic goal. Like my wife Monica's like, what do you want? Just say set a goal. Well, I want you to set an epic goal, something that is really challenging for you. What is that going to be? Maybe that's paying off a credit card in 90 days, like $5,000. maybe it's paying off your car. You've been wanting to pay it off. You owe 5,000, you owe 8,000. Why is that too hard? You have to believe you can do it. Some other things might be saving for an emergency fund and getting out of debt. We have another a challenge called the Get Out of Debt Challenge, where we focus specifically on activities for getting out of debt. But in this particular budget challenge, we're going to focus on activities for creating your budget. And so that these are some goals. You need to have clear financial goals, and they have to be very specific. Like I said, 5,000, set a number, and you can't be again, it can't be too easy. It's got to be challenging enough for you. We're trying to change behavior here, and you're gonna have to try to figure out when you start using this budget. It's not a budget's not there to hurt you, make you feel miserable. It actually gives you freedom when you can allocate certain amounts of money, and you have to be planning. And I know everybody's a little different. I'm a planner. My wife, Monica, not so much. She would have 5 categories in her budget. I would have 40. So we've had to come down to like 17 or 20. Um, but we work together. And I think the key thing is you need to work with people. Find an accountability partner. Find a spouse, a friend, a partner, brother, mother, someone to help you do this challenge. And we're going to talk about that later in recruiting allies. That's part of this challenge. But just to get you started, I need to know, are you ready to commit to the challenge? And are you ready to set some epic goals? That is the key part, setting epic goals, setting things you're going to commit to. This has got to fire you up. If you're not fired up, you're not gonna ever do it. It's just like going to the gym. I've got to get ready for that event I'm gonna have because I gotta look at my best. Maybe I'm going to the beach, spring break. I've got to look ripped. I've got to do the exercises. I'm committed to doing that. Whatever it is you need to do, you're gonna set the goal. You're gonna work towards it. And so here, this epic goal, it's got to be the fuel to your fire. It's like why you would get up and go to work early to maybe work that second job, that part-time job, stay up late. It may be something requires you to cut some expenses, like I'm going to cut out my cable. Why are they always going to get rid of cable? Because I don't know, it's entertainment. But you want to get rid of something. So you have to make sacrifices for this financial goal. So I can't stop on this point. This is so important. What's important to you? That is really what it comes down to. Setting an epic goal is what's my important goal? If you have a child and your child was sick and you couldn't borrow any money, but you had to like go earn an extra $5,000 for the surgery they needed. These days, surgeries probably cost $50,000. But if you had to go do that, what would you do? You would go. That would be your motivation. So you have to set that epic goal. You have to look within yourself and figure out what can I do? What do I want to achieve? What is my epic goal? That I'm going to take this challenge and I'm going to say next in 90 days, I'm going to have this done and I'm going to feel good about it. I'm going to have my shoulders up, head back. I'm looking good. And maybe it's paying off the car. Maybe it's paying off the credit card. You need freedom from MasterCard, discover freedom. Those are some things we have to do. So, setting an epic goal, that's rule number two. Now, this is just the rules. I'm not going into all these things. We're going to walk through this little by little. But next week, I'm going to talk about rule number three and rule number four. That's activities and quest. And rule four is defeat the villains. And we're going to really get into what are some activities. I'm going to work with you on the activities for creating the budget, for learning your budget, your money language. That's a whole nother topic. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit because you need to learn your money language. That'll help you create your budget that actually works, a budget that actually works. So you're going to have to join me on that next week. And we're going to talk about defeating the villains. Those are the hangups. They're going to hold you back. What are those villains? We'll give it a name. We'll create a strategy to defeat the villains. Those are next week's rules. I want you to register for this budget challenge. This budget challenge is it's going to continue for the next 3 weeks. So if this is January the 6th, the first time you're hearing this, come on back next week. Okay, January 13th, 10 a.m. Central. 10 a.m. Central is when we're going to start our next budget challenge video. You can go to financialchampion.net. You can register under webinars for the Financial Champion Challenge, and we will see you there. It's going to be great. It's going to have fun, and we're going to learn together. So I hope you will stay, again, consistent self discipline, reaching the financial goal you want to see. So we will see you on our next class. See you then. Happy New Year.